And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Juice Opinions. I think, this is number 4, and obviously, this is just my opinions. So, speaking for myself. And the reason, well, first off, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving yesterday. Hopefully, you guys ate some good food and got some leftovers. And if you're a football fan, hopefully your team won like mine did in a awesome fashion. So, all right, so this is going to be a one-off, like one basic topic. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff. It's probably going to be a little bit longer. And this is going to be the last time I discuss this on a Juice Opinions or podcast. If you listen to the Active Gamer Life extended topics that went up yesterday or last night, got a lot of venting off our chests, but this is just going to be kind of just my own feelings. Going to be responding to, people asking me, what's the problem with ports, why I get mad at it and stuff like that. But before I get into that, I just want to say that I don't believe a lot of the rumors at all, really. I don't believe there's going to be a Splatoon 1 port at launch. I considering the possibility that there's going to be some eShop versions of Wii U games, and maybe this is getting confused as that. There's all kinds of things that could be in play here. It could have been, the Mario Kart 8 footage that we saw could have been a placeholder, in progress stuff. And then I just feel a lot of people are just trying to get clicks and get, these rumors out because it's such a hot topic, the Nintendo Switch. And just like the NX, it's just easy clicks for websites and stuff. And like I said, I don't believe a lot of these rumors at all. So what I'm addressing is people's reactions or acceptance of the rumored lineup for the first 6 months. So that's basically what I'm going to be addressing, is people's acceptance of it and being asked, why are you getting mad about ports? Why do you care? If there's ports, just don't buy them. So I'm going to cover some stuff. I'm going to start off by just saying why I don't get excited for ports and why I don't get mad. And again, this is just my opinion. I haven't liked them since the PS3 era. Back then it was HD collections. So you're getting multiple games. So it wasn't as bad. It didn't make me mad or anything, but it was getting a little ridiculous. The PSP would get a God of War, then the PlayStation 3 would get the HD version, and there was HD collections all over the place. And there was some improvements a lot of the times, though they really didn't go all out. It wasn't like built from the ground up. So like a PS2 game in HD didn't really look that great overall. But that's kind of where it started, and I was like, all right, whatever. They're collections. You're getting multiple games. But then the PS4, Xbox One generation, the 8th gen, not including the Wii U, because the Wii U, while it had 2 Zelda ports, they were, older games, and they were actually the first time they were in HD. So it was more like the PS3 getting some PS2 games, except for like Wind Waker was 2 generations old. Twilight Princess was a GameCube and a Wii game. So while I didn't love those, I did support them just because I hadn't played those games in a while, but they weren't there at launch. And like I said, they were older games. So really the biggest thing that bugs me is that their previous gen games coming out to fill out a lineup, especially with the PS4, there was just so many. And there was new games and stuff, new third-party games, new Call of Duties and Assassin's Creeds and stuff, but just the list, I don't have the list of all the ports. A lot of those games were under 3 years old, and they're already in HD, so it was minimal improvements. And I've been saying that since this generation began, since the PS4, Xbox One launch. And even Phil Spencer, after the Gears, he said, we're done with ports. We're done with last gen ports. That's not what we feel is a good strategy or business model, and we don't think that's good for you consumers. We're going to focus on backwards compatibility, and fuck you to the ports. You know, Phil Spencer's a really smart guy. I like a lot of the stuff he says. You know, I have a Windows 10 PC with a great graphics card, so I don't need to buy an Xbox One, but I do like what he said there. And the PlayStation 4, you know, who knows? It might be done now with the ports of, you know, a lot of their last gen games, but they've already had a ton of them. And I didn't give Sony a pass. I've been shitting on Sony since that started. So Nintendo doesn't get a pass because I love Nintendo, because I love the Wii U. They don't get a pass. I didn't like ports on the PS4. I didn't hate them, but they weren't. I wasn't a fan of the idea, even on the PS3. And if Nintendo does it with the Switch, I'm not going to give them a pass. You know, that'd be pretty hypocritical of me to give them a pass, and I think that would be damage control or fanboyism if I did try to defend that after what I've said the last 3 years about the PlayStation 4 and all the ports. A new console to me means new games and new experiences, sequels. You know, that's what a new console's meant to me since the Super NES came out after the NES. That was kind of my first experience with a new console. And new Zelda game, new Mario game. You know, they did the Mario All-Star. That was like the only time they did that back then. And you got four of the old Mario games in one cartridge for one price. So that was more of a collection, which collections are more acceptable to me. Like, hey, the Master Chief Collection, you're getting 3. I think they even added a 4th game, or a 5th game. Sorry, there was 4 games. To me, for one price, $50-$60. You know, that makes a lot more sense. So anyway, you know, Super Nintendo came out, all new experiences. The N64 came out. We didn't get port of Super Mario World. We got Mario 64. We didn't get a port of A Link to the Past. We got Ocarina of Time, you know. So that's the stuff I always look forward to with a new system. And, you know, seeing the rumored lineup for the first 6 months from, you know, mostly Nintendo side. You know, we don't know anything about a lot of the third party stuff. And I just can't get excited for that. And, you know, if you do, whatever, you know, that's cool. But if I give my opinion why I don't think it's cool, just take that. It's just my opinion. I don't really like debating and stuff, but I do have a lot of counters because I'm hearing the reasons people are saying this is okay are kind of, I think I have some good counters to a lot of them. I'm going to stick to the main ones. It's a good business decision, I keep hearing. There's still new games coming. This isn't going to take away from new games. But they're enhanced versions, so you're getting more content, you're getting new content, and well, they're outsourced, so they're, you know, they're not taken away from Nintendo's resources. They're being outsourced to other companies. So they're not, you know, they're still working on new games, and then these other companies are working on that, or outsourced companies working on the port. And then you also, what was the other thing? I had it for a second and I lost it. I'll probably remember it later. So I'm going to start with the good business decision idea. And I asked this on the AGL podcast. Aren't sequels a good business decision? Isn't it a better business decision? I actually have some numbers that I'll go over in a second here. I did a little research on the sales of ports versus the originals, and then sequels versus ports. So let's see here. Yeah, I always just say, wouldn't you rather have a sequel? And I think a lot of people would say that, but then they're like, well, there's nothing wrong with ports. And I'll bring up the sequel part second here. I'm going to just talk about sales of ports versus the original. So a last gen game getting ported to the new system. There's been some successes, and I think they're obviously the exception. The first one is the Last of Us was the first one to do it, and it was pretty successful. The original game was just under 6 million, and then the PS4 version was 4.5 million. So they definitely got a lot of sales out of that, and it was, you know, worth their time financially. So that's one of the first ones that did it, and it was the most successful. And let's see, Rayman Legends was another weird one. You know, it sold 580,000 on the PS3, and somehow did almost 1 million on the PS4 I didn't know that. So, but that also, I don't know if that had a physical, I think, but anyway, that was one of the better ones. And I'm looking at a sheet here, so I'm going to cross these off so I don't redo them. Tomb Raider, 2013 version of Tomb Raider comes out. Xbox One, 1.89 million. PS3, 2.42 million. The remastered version, 60,000 on the Xbox One. PS4 fared a lot better, 1.4 million. So you take those two, and it's a big drop off, especially the Xbox One version was just ridiculous, wasn't even worth making there. The BioShock collection hasn't been out quite as long, but I think it's pretty much hit its sales. um, I don't remember if I'd added them all up or if just, but I think the series on PS3 did almost 5 million, like all three games combined. And then getting all three games for the price of one on the PS4 only did 300,000. So, it was a big drop off. The Wind Waker on the GameCube, which had a bigger install base, but it wasn't that much bigger, did 4.6 million on the GameCube. And then, the numbers are a little bit, that one was like 1.5 million or something on the Wii U. And that's when the Wii U was starving for games. Still pretty good numbers, but quite a bit of a drop off. The Metroid Prime series, it was on GameCube and Wii. The first three games was like 6 something. Let's see, it was like between 5 and 6 million combined. The collection was between 600,000 800,000. I know they only made limited versions, but still, example of not doing that great. And then the Pikmin's like a perfect example, because Pikmin 1 and 2 on the GameCube, 1.63 million and 1.2 million. And then the Wii, which had a huge install base, re-releases them in 40K for Pikmin 1, 20,000 for Pikmin 2. So like that's a Nintendo example and they added the improved controls was massively improved. And those were terrible. That was not even worth their time. Whoever, whether they did it or had somebody else did it. Twilight Princess, 8.5 million on GameCube and Wii combined, and then the remake, the HD, did like 1 million on the Wii U, which was decent numbers. But Halo, let's see, the combined all the games was like, I don't know, 14, 15 million. And then the Master Chief Collection did pretty well, 3.2 million. And then Halo 5 did 4. So let's see what Gears of War, like 6.5 million sold on the Xbox 360. And the remaster did 3 million on the Xbox One. That one's kind of a medium. Then you got games like Dark Souls 2, 1.27 on the PS3, and then the PS4 version, 590,000. Probably made their money back on that, but maybe they didn't. And then I got the Batman series, did really well. And then the collection hasn't been out that long, but the reports are it's pretty bad. It's at like, what was it at? 150,000 so far in like the month it's been out. So my point is that, yeah, some of these ports do really well. Like the first one for the PS4 did the best, The Last of Us. But Nintendo hasn't had a great track record, especially when it was last gen game to the current gen with the Pikmin series. Here's a third party game, Saints Row 4, did 166,000 or 1.66 million on the Xbox 360. It did 20,000 on the Xbox One. It was 1.25 million on the PS4, 390,000 on the PS4. And, there's more games like that, but I didn't think they were as fair as an example because they weren't that well known. So basically, the ports don't always do just amazing, and whether the cost is way down or not, when we'll discuss why the cost ain't going to exactly be cheap, as cheap as some, like PS3 to PS4. It's just bumping up the resolution and changing the code. They don't have to change controller options and take away gamepad stuff. So, and then the other thing is, when I asked about sequels, and like wouldn't you rather just have a sequel? And a lot of Nintendo's, and especially the Wii U games, it's been a while. It's been 2 to 4 years since these studios have made games. So sequels should be pretty close. But just comparing a sequel situation, like I said, Dark Souls 2 dropped down about 500,000, and then Dark Souls 3 comes out on this is just the PlayStation, and does 1.6 million on the PS4 compared to 590,000 for Dark Souls 2 remastered. So the sequel did way better. Uncharted's a weird one because the collection did the same as Uncharted 4, which shocked me. And Uncharted 4 is still selling. It's now a bundle. You can get the PS4 Slim with the Uncharted 4 for $250. You're basically getting the game for nothing, and you're getting $50 off the system. So that one's going to continue to sell, but the Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 on the PS3 did over 20 million. So, and the install base was double, but still, the collection was at a time when there wasn't any PlayStation exclusive. So it's hard. All these numbers aren't definitive proof or anything, but they do show, like the Batman collection. So far it's on 150K, but Batman, the third game, or Arkham Knight, did almost 4 million just on the PlayStation 4. So a sequel there was just obliterated the collection, which it came out first. So that, like I said, these aren't exact proof. Like Pikmin, I said the Wii remakes or remastered or enhanced ports did terrible. Then Pikmin 3 come out on a smaller install base and did 1.2 million that we know of. I mean, it might even be more like one and a half. So sequels are just the better option. I mean, you can't deny that. And like I said, these development teams for Nintendo have been they've been a few years since they've made a game, so they should be about ready. And then you got the 3DS devs. They should be, ready, set to go with new games. Like we shouldn't. Are you expecting a Dark Moon port, or would you rather have Luigi's Mansion 3? I mean, it's been, forget how many years since Dark Moon on the 3DS. Some people said they'd like Kid Icarus Uprising on a console, but it's been a long time. Wouldn't Kid Icarus Uprising 2 be more appealing to you? Maybe they could give us the first one included or something, but to me, sequels just make way more sense in this situation. Nintendo pulled back the Wii U's library this year and really had nothing after Tokyo Mirage Sessions. We know we got Mario Color Splash, but they pulled a lot of their games, and they're coming to they're switched over to the Switch. So they did all that. They put the system out, have it coming out in March. They said the hardware was ready. They're just waiting for the games. You don't do that for ports. So yeah, this is the good business side of it. To me, ports aren't guaranteed good business. I mean, the first one or two might do okay, but the rest of them, I don't think are going to do great. And then getting into the still new games coming part, there's still new games, so just don't buy the ports. Well, won't they cannibalize each other? I mean, if you got, let's see, Splatoon port up against Skyrim, the whatever, what's the game? Not Dishonored, but like for Honor, some of these other third-party games. You got a 3D Mario game, then Splatoon comes out, and not everybody can buy every game. So to me, it's like, yeah, if you have new games, then why these ports are going to be cutting into the new games? New games would be overshadowing the ports. It just seems conflicting to me if there's all these new games still coming. And I'm talking like first year, because I knowing Nintendo, if any of this was even true, like once the first year's done, I would not expect maybe a GameCube port, like Mario Sunshine or something, a year or two after the 3D Mario game, something like that. But it just seems to me like it's too many options, and you say, oh, there's no such thing. But there's too many games, and a lot of games are going to suffer. Most probably going to be third-party games, and then you're going to have third parties pulling out. And then what do you guys that love third parties support? Then what are you going to do when they don't make their next, a year later? Because Mario Kart 8 outsold every third party game 10-1, because that was there in the first 6 months. So it just doesn't seem to be a good idea. Now, if you got new games, then just go with the new games. And like I said in the AGL podcast, I don't mind any one of these ports on its own. Like you can make a case for a lot of these games on their own, but when you combine them all together in the first 6 months, that's to me is where it becomes a problem. And like I said, Splatoon 1 port, Splatoon 2 by May 2017, that'll be 2 years since Splatoon launched. They made that game from the ground up from scratch in under 2 years. I think they could have a sequel out within 2.5 years. I mean, to me, that just says they should be able to have that. So you put Splatoon 1 there at launch, and then Splatoon 2 comes out in holiday 2017 or May 2018. And it's like, well, we just had Splatoon. Like, to me, that's the Call of Duty effect. That's the Assassin's Creed effect. Well, Call of Duty, it seems to work. It seems to be the only one that gets away with it. Assassin's Creed didn't work, and I just think they're too close together. So now you're diminishing the sequel by having this port of the Wii U game right there within the first year that they're coming out. The sequel, let's say Mario Kart 9 could be out in May of 2018. And you had Mario Kart 8.5 out and a year before that. It's going to kind of diminish Mario Kart 9, wouldn't it? Like, that's too much Mario Kart, too close together. Because they're going to be so similar. Because I really think Mario Kart 9 is going to just stick with the same graphic engine as Mario Kart 8, and it's going to be a similar looking game. And I just think that'd be too close together. So to me, the ports diminish the sequels. So like Xenoblade Chronicles X, that makes a little more sense because the next game is going to be 3-4 years out, from right now. And that one makes a little more sense. Like I said, on its own, it's all right. But then you combine that with Lego City, Skyrim's an old game, and then Mario Kart, Mario Maker, Splatoon, Smash, and all that, then it's like, it's just too much. They're all together, they're too much. By themselves, it'd be okay. It'd be just, whatever. All right, so that's the still new games coming counter. And like I said, this is just my opinion. You might feel differently. And then you're like, yeah, well, it bolsters the lineup. Well, to me, I just gave reasons why I feel it hurts the lineup. And then the enhanced port, they're enhanced, so you're getting extra stuff. Well, they're outsourced, so they're not taking resources. Well, you think Nintendo is going to give Splatoon to some outsourced company and change hairstyles, clothing options, and make all these changes to Splatoon? You think they're going to let Tantalus make all these changes to Splatoon or Mario Kart? Fuck no, they're not. I mean, come on. Smash will probably be done by Bandai Namco or whatever, because they've already worked on the game. That one I could see, but still Sakurai is going to be involved and all that. So what is it? Are they enhanced or are they outsourced? Because I don't see how they can be both. The limitations of outsource would be removing the gamepad features, finding a way to put second screen stuff on your TV screen, and what button would make that happen. Controller options would have to be changed and removed. But if it's an outsourced Splatoon, let's say it's just Splatoon 1, what we saw in the trailers, Splatoon 2, but they're really porting Splatoon 1 first. Are they going to add voice chat? Are they going to add friend invites? Is that going to be part of the OS? There's a lot of stuff we don't know, but if they're not changing a lot, if it's just being outsourced, Nintendo's not going to give them the go ahead to make all these massive changes. Twilight Princess took Tantalus like 2+ years, and they added some gyro controls and some other stuff, but they didn't fundamentally change the game. Like a Splatoon enhanced port, people are saying. So are they enhanced or are they outsourced? Because to me, they can't be both. Xenoblade Chronicles X could be outsourced because they would just be removing the gamepad features. They wouldn't be like changing online stuff and all that. So if they're outsourced, then they're going to be, to me, they're not going to be allowed to make major changes, especially Mario Kart and Splatoon. and Smash, like I said, Bandai Namco developed the game, so it makes a little more sense for that one. But as far as the other ones, I don't see them being outsourced. And so if they are enhanced and they're blurring the lines between a sequel and a port, then they are taking resources. And they're taking things that should be in the sequel and put it in the first game. And then what do you do for the sequel? Then you got to come up with more new ideas again. And they launch within the first year of each other. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, and then so a game idea guy saying, well, then you get the better version on the Switch. Well, not depending on the game necessarily. If you like, for me, Xenoblade Chronicles X, having to put the map up and do that stuff while and take over the game instead of being able to just look down my map, see where I'm heading, and not have to pause the game. Like, to me, that wouldn't be the better version. But in Splatoon, without the map on your screen, you can't see where your team needs help and stuff. I mean, you're going to put that map on the overlaid on the game. Like, where the hell are you going to put that? Like, to me, that would take up too much space and be too small. And then the other stuff, targeting your ink strikes and stuff, it wouldn't be the better version in my opinion. And so that one kind of boggles my mind. Like, it can't be an outsource and enhanced to the point where people are saying it blurs the line. I just don't see how those two go together. Nintendo would be directly involved in an enhanced version of Splatoon that adds all this new stuff and blurs the line of a sequel and a port. Now, what they could be doing is just, instead of making Splatoon 2, they're just making Splatoon, and from this point forward, the new game's going to include everything from the first game, and then also have everything that would be in the sequel. They just don't call it Splatoon 2. I guess that seems kind of weird, but don't put resources into adding this new stuff to a game that there should be sequels within the first year of the Switch's life. There should be a Splatoon sequel before March 2018, in my opinion, based on how quickly they got the first game. And that was built from scratch. So now they have everything in place. They just have to make a sequel, build upon it and stuff. To me, that can be out within 2.5 years. No problem. 2.5 years after the first game, within the first year of the Switch's life. And like I said, there's so many 3DS teams that, there's a few 3DS games coming out, but now they're, from what we know, they're combining with the console teams. You got all this talent. Why are you accepting ports? Like, with all that talent, 2016, no real Wii U, no major Wii U games. 3DS getting a few games, but nothing major. And you don't expect that first year to be filled with awesome new games from all these teams? I don't know. To me, that just seems like a clusterfuck of too many games, if there's new games and ports and all that. And then you got a lot of the people that are trying to defend this were the people I thought would be all over it. That's the odd thing. The people that complain about the Nintendo Directs, they showed too many 3DS games. Oh, there's so many 3DS games in here. But that January 12th is going to come out, and you're going to see 5-6 games that are on Wii U at the January 12th Switch event, and you're not going to be upset by that? Come on. That's nonsense. I mean, we've already seen Zelda, so, the people are going to be like, well, I've already seen that. There's nothing exciting there. So 3D Mario game, what other, Retro's new game, stuff like that. They're not going to focus on ports. Are you kidding me? If they did, that would be terrible. I don't think they will at all, and I just don't think the ports exist. So, but I just gave what I felt was a bunch of reasons why I don't like ports, why I don't want them on the Switch, especially Wii U ports. And I didn't even I didn't even address the whole Wii U fanboy. Well, you love the Wii U, so you don't want to let it go. If I don't want to let it go, wouldn't I want Wii U to continue to play Wii U games on the Switch? Like, if I love the Wii U that much, why wouldn't I want to play the Wii U games on the Switch? It doesn't make sense. I don't want to play the Wii U games again. It makes no logical sense to me. Like, I'm such a fan of Wii U, but I don't want these Wii U games on the Switch. Like, I don't get that logic. I want new games. It has nothing to do with loving the Wii U. It has everything to do with just being a gamer, and I like my new system to have new games, and I don't like the PlayStation 4 has all these ports. Every time I look to buy one, I look at the lineup, I look at the available games, and they're all games I could have got on the PS3. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And the other thing is, like I said in the AGL podcast, a lot of Wii U owners have another system, a PC, an Xbox One, or a PS4. I'd guarantee you that it's over 70% of Wii U owners. It's probably more like 95% have another system. So if you have another system and you look at that rumored lineup of games, other than the Rabbids Mario RPG, you could play every single game rumored to be coming out right now today. I mean, to me, that's enough said. If you have a Wii U, obviously. For the people that don't have a Wii U, okay, I don't hear them saying anything. I don't really subscribe to Sony or Microsoft fanboys, but okay, so what? They can play Mario Kart 8, and like I said, then when Mario Kart 9 comes out, it's only been a short span of time, and it's like in Mario Kart 9, you don't need to play Mario Kart 8 to enjoy Mario Kart 9. You don't need to play Splatoon 1 to enjoy Splatoon 2. It doesn't work like that. Xenoblade's the only one that, if they do a direct sequel, which they're not, you could still play the next Xenoblade game without playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. And also, a lot of these games are cheaper. Right now, you got Lego Cities under $20. You can play the last gen version of Skyrim if you want. You can play the remaster now. I got a PC. All these games I could play. And then you got to look at what the rest of the lineup's going to be. It's going to be probably the Maddens and the basketball games from this time right now. Going to launch on the Switch. Going to be older ports, possibly. Games like Watch Dogs 2. Like a lot of these games are going to be for the people saying, well, there's going to be a lot of PS4, Xbox One owners who didn't buy the Wii U could buy the Switch. Well, they already played majority of the games still. If you're looking at some of the ports, and then the only games they'll have to play are Wii U games. Those games weren't worth them buying a Wii U for. Why is that worth them buying a Switch for? Because all the other third-party games, most of them are probably going to be games that they can get on their PS4 and Xbox One or PC. So it's just a weird thing to think Nintendo would launch the Switch in the first 6 months would be like 5 or 6 games minus Skyrim that you could play on the Wii U. It just, to me, that makes no sense. And whatever, I'm not going to buy them if they exist, but it still bugs me that Nintendo would do that with all the talent they have and stuff. So yeah, and I forgot to even say, when I was talking about the good business thing, it's good business. Well, Mario Kart 8 sold 8 million copies. They don't need to sell more. Yeah, if they could. That game's made its money back tenfold. I guarantee it. I made this point yesterday in the AGL podcast. Breath of the Wild is Nintendo's, by far, their biggest budget, the biggest team they've ever had working on a game, going on, 4 or 5 years, and it needs to sell 2 million to turn a profit. 2 million game sales. What the hell do you think Splatoon needed to make a profit? Probably like 100K, 200K. I don't have facts here, but I would be shocked if it was over 500,000. That game made so much damn money for Nintendo. What was the other ones they're talking about? Smash, 13 million combined 3DS and Wii U. That game was probably closer to their second biggest budget, so it probably needed to sell like 1 million. Mario Kart 8 probably needed to sell close to 1 million to be profitable. Smash sold 13 million. It's on 2 systems already. Now you're going to put it on a third one, the same game. Mario Maker sold 4.5 million. They're putting it on the 3DS, a gimped version. That's probably going to sell a couple million. Mario Maker, probably another one, couple 100,000, and it made a profit. So they've made their money on these games. So then it just speaks to greed. And like I said, take that money. Like I said in the AJL podcast, they made the money. They could fund 2 or 3 sequels with the money they made on Mario Kart, Splatoon, Smash, and all that. So it just, to me, it doesn't make business sense. You might draw in a few extra people that didn't buy the Wii U. But look, think of this. All right, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to end this video. The first year, think of the best case scenario for Switch sales in the first, from March 2017 to March 2018. Whether you think it's 5 million, 10 million, 12 million, I'm guessing between 8 and 10 million, best case scenario. What percentage of those people that bought it in the first year do you think are we going to be Wii U owners who wanted to upgrade? To me, it seems like the majority of them, over 70% would be my guess. 60 to 75% are going to already be Wii U owners who are Nintendo fans who are going to buy the Switch. And majority of them have Mario Kart, Smash, and all that. I don't care about potentially better online. Mario Kart 8 works great online. You're going to have a join or invite system. Like, that's not going to significantly make Mario Kart play better. Smash Brothers, if it's got an Ethernet port in the Switch, that could benefit. But my point is, a lot of the Switch's first year sales are going to be from Wii U owners, in my opinion. And a lot of those Wii U owners have all these games. So I think overall the negatives outweigh any positives that might be. So yeah, that's my take on it. And like I said in the beginning, this is the last time I'm going to really go into this. I don't care if somebody even called me out or something, want to do a debate or whatever. I gave my opinions. I gave my reasonings. It just, to me, doesn't feel Nintendo-like. It doesn't feel exciting for a new console to have all these ports in the first 6 months. It's just not exciting. And I hold Nintendo to a higher standard than that. I know Leveled Head said that about in November last year, because Nintendo didn't show the NX, and I was like, yeah, lower your expectations. They have some holiday games to sell. Mario Maker just came out. Xenoblade's coming out. 3DS has games. And I said that Direct is going to be focusing on their holiday, because they're going to try to make the most of the holiday with what they got. And I said, so lower your expectations if you're expecting an X. He's like, well, I hold Nintendo to a high standard. I expect them to blow me away and this and that. So what happened to that mindset? And a lot of people agreed with that. I know a lot of the people that complained about the Splatoon commercials, the lack of voice chat, they agree with that sentiment. But now you don't expect high standards of Nintendo. You don't expect them to blow you away. You're going to settle for 4 or 5 Wii U ports in the first 6 months of the Switch. Like, to me, I don't know. That seems a little bit hypocritical. And I usually am pretty easygoing Nintendo. Like, I don't get all up in their business decision. I forgot this one too. The good business decision. They didn't care that it was a good business decision for Nintendo to release Amiibos. They didn't care about that at all. They hated Amiibos. I know Nia, the video gamer, she never even bought one. Complained about them every step of the way. But that was a good business decision for Nintendo. So if you really, and I don't know what her take is on the Switch. I haven't heard her take, but I know a lot of people complaining about Amiibos. Well, that was a good business decision. So, if you're going to take that logic, then you got to accept that logic for Amiibos. So there's some hypocrisy, but most of all, I'm just saying, if you're just jumping in now, I went over a lot of reasons why I just don't want ports, and like not just ports, but ports from last gen onto the new gen. And yeah, so thanks everybody. I haven't really been checking the chat that much because it's hard. I don't want to get distracted. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be 3-4 down votes, thumbs down immediately when I check it on YouTube. And if you don't agree with me, even if you're a Nintendo fan, I was talking to a kid yesterday, Capable Tie 7. I think he's 17 or 18 years old. He already sold his Wii U, and he says he's excited to replay some of his favorite games. And I'm like, try to give him some advice about selling old systems, and the regrets I had getting rid of my old systems. But to me, like, okay, you sold your Wii U, and whenever you did, and now you want to replay, you want to start over with these games. Like, to me, it's just weird. I don't see the logic there. I'm an old school gamer. I'm 38 years old. I just expect new games when a new console comes out. So that's going to be it. Looks like this went on for like 40 minutes. Apologize for the super long video, but I just had to get this out. It's gonna be the last time, like I said, that we discuss this. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, and we'll see you on Monday for the Juices Loose.